Fred, I hear them frogs. Daggone tree frogs. Sound like a broken wheel.
I thought we weren't talking.
What if there was a podcast where one NFL legend talked about football? What about two NFL legends, huh? What about three? This is Wideout's World, where the gridiron comes alive. NFL legends Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Three NFL legends. Breaking down the game from the ultimate insider perspective. Game recaps, upcoming previews, and exclusive analysis straight from the minds of those who've been in the trenches. Yes. Wideout's World. Let's do it.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
I can't. Oh,
Football, man. That sound like one of my homeboys from Mississippi. We're ready for some football, baby.
I can't never get over that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wideout's World. I'm Fred Barnett. I'm here in Bermuda with my tree frogs. My co-host, Michael Timpson, and the Irving Fryar, former Hall of Famer. I'm saying it now. I'm saying it now. Oh, no, former.
How you say former? That means I'm dead.
Let me back up.
Back up, Fred.
Yeah.
Back up, Fred.
Future. Irving was looking at me like,
Yeah, former. That means I'm dead.
Future Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Future Hall of Famer. Mike.
You've been working on it.
Hey, Fred, turn your mic up a little bit, bro. Turn your mic up a little bit, Fred.
And I had it written down, and I read it wrong. What's going on, fellas?
We all good, man. We all good.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. You know, it's a storm coming through Bermuda right now. I don't know where it's coming from, but we're surviving. We're surviving. Irv, I got a chance to see you this weekend.
Yeah, man, it was good to see you.
Mike?
Always good to spend some time with you, brother. I'm glad that you were in town. I'm glad I got a chance to see you. Didn't know you were going to be in town. You got to stop that though. You got to stop coming in town. Yeah, not letting me know that you're not in town. We got to, you're my brother. You just said last week on the show you love us. So if you love me, you better holler at me then.
Okay, then. Well, hold me accountable. And Mike, I'll be in Orlando next week. So,
okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I won't be in Orlando. Mike, how was your weekend, Doc?
It's good, man. It's good.
Good. That's it?
All was well. Nope, nothing
well.
exciting. It was all is well, brother. Every day above ground is a good day.
Hey, that's good news. No news is good news sometime, bro.
Mm-hmm.
No news is definitely good news.
Listen, Fred, we got 11 people who are logged in right now, who are watching right now.
Already?
Not all 11 have acknowledged themselves. Russell Gould has acknowledged himself. Billy Bell is in the house. He said, "What's up, fellas?" Russell says, "What?"
Bell.
So shout out to both of them, Russell and Billy. The rest of you who are watching right now, one just dropped. The rest of you who are watching right now, please shout us out. Say hi. Ben Straight in the house. What part of Orlando, Mike?
Ben Straight.
I'm in Sanford, he said. I got the best steaks for you. That's Ben Straight.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
He's at
I'm
Sup
over by
Kings. It says Sup Kings.
What is it? Sup King? Put it in the chat. I'll write down the name and
It's right there.
I'll find it.
Should come up right. There it is.
Kings.
Sup chat. Sup Kings. S-U-P Kings. See it? Can you see it, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Sup Kings.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Nice. All right, that's nice. That you know what? That's part of why we do this show live, so that we can interact with the people. It's great to have someone down in Florida watching our show. That's awesome. Eddie Casper is in the house. My mother is in the house. She says, "Hey guys,
good afternoon, good evening, good evening.
Here's his
How
address.
you doing? How you doing?
How you doing? Here's his address, Mike. Las Posadas.
Oh Lord, he gave me the address too. Okay, where my
Las Espadas on Lee Road.
There it is. Okay.
You see it?
Yes, sir.
There it is.
There you go.
All right, Ben Straight in the house. We appreciate you, brother.
I'll
God
look you
bless
up.
you,
I'll
man.
look you up, brother Ben. I'll look you up.
It's gonna be a whole show of just shout outs. We keep
Well, that's all right. Listen, Sub Kings, if you would like to be a sponsor of our show, make sure when Mike shows up, you have that conversation with him. We would love to be able to shout you out. This is obviously a national, not just a national, but we're world renowned because we're on YouTube and Facebook, all over the world.
Yes, sir. Yes. All right, let's get this thing going. Of course, we got our top 5 wideouts. We have our biggest surprise, and we have our Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night calls. Mike, what are we? Can we go? Can we go over the record right now? Or am I still?
Hey,
yeah, go over the record first. Yeah, let's go over the record first.
So here's the great thing. Here's the great thing. Last week, boy, we had a rough week. Some of us had a rough week.
Me,
so
I had a rough week.
Real quick. The Thursday night game, the Broncos versus the Saints. We all picked the Saints. Saints, and so we all got an offer for that one. The Sunday night game, Fred, you and Irv picked the Jets. I picked the Steelers. And then the Monday night game, Ravens and the Bucks. We all had the Ravens. And then the second Monday night game, the Chargers and the Cardinals. Irv and I picked the Cardinals, and Fred, you picked the Chargers. And so I ended up 3-1. Irv ended up 2-2. You ended up 1-3. So our records now. I pulled up with a tie with Fred, so we're both 14-10.
Wow.
And Irv, you're bringing up the rear at 13-11. You're right there, though.
I'm right there behind you. Yeah, I'm just one behind you. Just one behind you. That's all.
So, but these picks,
look, we about 50-50, really, when you look at what 14, this 50-50. We're all about 50-50.
And am I the only one? We're looking at these games. I'm like, man, I wish I could change my picks.
Yep.
I'm saying, like, you got to
when I see the game, I'm like, dang, I lost another one. Listen, Vinny Capriati's in the house. PJ Dolan is in the house. What's going on, PJ? Stephen Pace is in the house. Erlene Barnett is in the house. Shout out to you. Hey, Ben Straight said, please sometime talk about Hurts being put on lockdown with just 14 plays called. Is that a vote?
Because they don't trust him. They don't
no
trust
confidence
him,
from the coaches. By the way,
that's exactly
he ran backwards 14 yards to make it 4th and 24 to go. Listen, Ben, check me out. Check me out on Instagram, my Instagram page tomorrow. I do a show on Thursdays from 12 to 12:45 on my Instagram page, Dr. Irving Fryar, and I'm it's the Birds Insight with Irving on Instagram. And I will talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to keep it. I keep it real. They're
not going to let you back in the stadium, Irv.
That's okay. They don't let me in the stadium anyway, so I could care less. They don't let me in the stadium anyway. Listen, and here's the thing about with the Eagles, I don't know what it is, and I'm going to say this publicly right now, and maybe it'll change something. If it doesn't, it'll stay the same. I don't care. I care less. They ain't writing no checks for me anymore. But anyway, they ask a lot of players to come up there, former players to come up and do appearances during the games and do different stuff. And I've been up there several times talking to the people who are in charge of, contacting the players and making those arrangements and getting them up to the stadium. And they don't call me. Somebody up there doesn't like me. They don't call me.
No. That's not it, Irv.
What is
Certain teams do it better than others.
No.
I get stuff from New England all the time. They want us to come up there. And
but they want you to pay. They want you to pay your way up there.
No, I got in the game free. I signed autographs. It's certain teams do it better than others. That's all I'll say.
Well. Here's what I know. There are the guys that I know in this area, former players that I played with. They're always getting called to go up there and do autograph sessions, to go up. Fred even gets up there to go do autograph sessions before the game. That's what they do. They have autograph sessions for the guys before the games, and those guys are getting called on a consistent basis. A guy that I do a podcast with, I'm not going to mention his name, he gets called multiple times to do signings up there. They don't call me. Somebody up
Well,
there,
if it
somebody
makes you
up
feel
there
better,
doesn't like
they
me.
don't.
No, they don't make me feel better.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me
They ain't gonna
finish
make
my
me feel
point.
better.
This is gonna make you feel better. They
No, it
don't
ain't.
call me either.
You're down there in Florida, so you only played there for a year.
That's okay. Just give me a call.
Listen, I'm in the area, and I talk to the people all the time. I've talked to them several times. I should say that I'm available. I'm available. Give me a call. Give me a call. Oh, are you available? Yeah, we'll call you. They never call me. So somebody up there who's in charge of those appearances doesn't like me at all. But it's okay.
Fred, can you take care of that, Fred? Fred, can you take care of that?
I got Jesus, and that's enough. I got Jesus, and that's enough. If God be for me, hey, if God be for me, He's more than the world against me. So they can be haters all they want. All they do,
Let's go, Fred. Let's go, Fred. He's going, Fred. He's going.
God will prepare a table before me in the presence of folk who don't want me to have
Fred,
nothing.
you let him go, Fred. Fred, run the show, Fred.
Jesus Christ, Irv.
I got to stand on the word. I got to stand on the word, bro.
I want a perspective before I go. Not before I go. Jesus, I'm just all twisted up. I want a perspective before we start. Give me your thoughts on Deshaun Watson getting carted off in this. In the fans are cheering. You know, I think they cheered like that's what you get or something like that. They just basically booed him off after the guy was injured. Can you get both of you guys give me your perspective on that?
You want to go first, Mike, or you want me to go?
I'll go. I mean, mine's gonna be quick. I think we all see it the same way. It's bootleg.
Yeah.
No, he's not the quarterback that you necessarily want, but you don't boo an injury. But these people, they pay the money to get in the game. They feel that they can say and do anything, and that's what we deal with as pro athletes. You guys know that. Doesn't make it right, but that's what it is. That's part of what we have to endure. So it's unfortunate. It had nothing to do with the guy getting the injury, and hopefully he can just get healed, get better, go on about his business, and put that behind him, put Cleveland behind him. So,
yeah,
I pray for him.
Irv, I'll let you go last, Irv. I think that it's very unfortunate because it's once you get hurt, when you get hurt to that extent, it becomes an emotional thing. Of course, it's physical as well. You want to be in the game. So here's a guy who wants to be in the game. He's not playing well when he's in the game, and now he can't get in the game because he's injured. And then his fan base is basically kind of pushing him off the field. I think it's it's a very unfortunate situation, and I think if I was him, I would do my best to try to get out of there and just try to start, somewhere fresh, something new, somewhere fresh. So I think it's very unfortunate. And I think, unfortunately, as Mike mentioned, the fair weather fans who basically, when you're doing well, they're behind you. And when you're not doing so well, they want you out of there. It's unfortunate that that's a reality for a lot of fans.
It's tough for me to watch, or to have watched and heard what went on in that situation where the fans are booing him after that injury. His ruptured Achilles. That's a crazy injury. It's a bad injury, and I guess modern medicine today, there are guys are coming back a lot faster now than when I played or when we played. But my question is, were they booing the player or were they booing the person? That's my question. Were they booing him because, he has not been successful as a player on the field since he's been in Cleveland. He has continued to decline as a player. So were they booing him as a player, the quarterback that came in and got a $230 million contract that was all guaranteed, first time in the history of the NFL, and has not lived up to those numbers? Or are they booing the person in Watson in terms of all of the things that's going off, all the things that he's dealing with off the field with these allegations that he's settling in civil suits and paying money, so on and so forth. It's a lot for him. You know, I think about him and I empathize with him. You know, we all, none of us are perfect. We all have skeletons in our closet. It's just the fact that you know this, guys. I know this, that being in the NFL, playing as a football player, a professional football player in the NFL, you live in a glass house. So all of our skeletons that we have oftentimes are put on stage for people to scrutinize. But everybody has skeletons. And for people to boo him, whether they're booing the player or whether they're booing the person, is cynical. It's selfish. It's not right. This man is going through, who knows, that could be the thing that pushes him over the edge and causes him to do something, you know, harmful or hurtful to himself or to someone else. So I'm praying for him because he's going through a lot. I can't even imagine. I mean, I went through a lot in my life about 8 years ago, and I never would have imagined being able to make it through something like that prior to having to go through it and deal with it and make it through it. But I did. And I believe he has the same wherewithal. He has the same stick-to-itiveness. He has the same grit in him that he's going to be able to make it. And whether he stays in Cleveland or he ends up playing somewhere else, he'll get back on his feet and be a successful man.
You know what? Unfortunately, Irv, and I think, you know, to no disrespect to the fans, but I think it's inevitable to identify really what the fan base is for some teams. You know what? They're booing the player. They're booing the player because if Cleveland was 6-1 right now or 5-1 right now, you know, everybody would be like this, bring our guy back, you know, because it's a combination of course, who he is off the field, but that's only highlighted because of the bad play, because of the unsuccessful play on the field. So, you know, it is, as you mentioned, it's very unfortunate, and I at the same time too felt sad for the guy as well. So let's jump right into the top 5 wide outs. Irv, why don't we go? Why don't you go first, Irv? Let's start with our number 5, or however you want to do it. Bruh.
All right, you gonna let me go first? All right, I like that. Let me get
first.
that.
Yeah. You talk too long on the last subject.
So my my top 5 wideouts. My number 5, week 7 is Terry McLaurin out of Washington. They won 70-7 versus Carolina. He had 6 targets and 6 receptions.
Did you say 70? 7-0? Did you say
40-7? Did I say 70? 40-7. Did I say 70? My bad.
Yes, you did.
I stand corrected. 40-7. That's not a victory. 40-70. 40-7 over the Panthers. He has 6 targets, 6 receptions. I like that when, you know, the targets and the receptions match, not wasted plays. 98 yards, only 98 yards, didn't get 100, no TDs, 25 long, 16.3 average. So Jaden Daniels, and again, I had Terry McLaurin in my top 5 a couple of weeks ago because I believe he's helping Jaden Daniels as the elder statesman. He's helping the young rookie get his feet wet and get comfortable with what's going on. But Jaden Daniels went down in the first possession. So, and because of that, obviously, they're not throwing the ball as much because of the blowout, actually. They didn't start throwing the ball as much. But in spite of both of those things working against him, McLaurin gained at least 15 yards on all 6 of his catches, which is awesome, y'all. So things could get better for him, or they could get worse for him if Daniels does or does not play in the next week against the Bears. But McLaurin has at least 98 receiving yards in 3 of the last 5 games. So Terry McLaurin is my number 5. My number 4 is Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the Lions. They won 31-29 against Minnesota. Woo, that was a game, y'all. That was a game. 8 targets, 8 receptions. Again, 112 yards, 1 TD, 35 long, 14.0 average. So he led the Lions in receptions, receiving yards, and targets with totals that were his second highest in this season so far. His 35-yard TD grab in the second quarter extended his streak of games with a TD grab to 4. This was his second game. This was his second game over 100 yards this year. So look for St. Brown to recover his third, or record, I should say, his third 100-yard game next week against the Titans. Because with the Titans, one of my next receivers, he's a rookie, Keon Coleman, he got 100 yards with the Titans. So my next one, number 3, Keon Coleman, plays for the Bills. They won 34-10 against the Titans. He had, and this is not as good, he had 4 receptions with 7 targets, 125 yards, no TDs, 57 long, 31.3 yard average per catch. So with the addition, you would think that with the addition of Armani Cooper, it would seemingly, take away from his targets. But actually what happened, it benefited him, it benefited Coleman, and they just didn't pay as much attention to him. So he got a season-high 7 targets and converted into 44-yarder and a 57-yarder. Both had a lot of yards after catch, a lot of yak. The Titans were without their 2 corners, their 2 starting corners. So Coleman will carry, hopefully, his performance the next week in Seattle, who are also missing some guys in their secondary. So we'll see if he continues to play well. My number 2 is George Pickens with the Steelers. I can't say enough about Russell Wilson. He had 5 receptions, 9 targets, 111 yards, 1 TD, 44 long, 22.2 yard average. I think Russell Wilson brought the best out of Pickens. Pickens, 23 years old. Last season was his second season in the NFL. He got 63 catches, 1,140 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So this year he got off to a slow start because of Justin Fields, who was the QB the first 6 games. But Pickens, he's going to be much more productive in the games to come with Russell Wilson throwing the rock, y'all. And the next game is a Monday night game against the Giants. And the Giants are the 30th team in completion percentage in their secondary. So look for Pickens to have a big game. Number 1, Rashad Bateman. Listen, with the Ravens. Y'all, the Ravens just having fun. They're having fun. I like watching them because it looks like those cats they know they're good, they know they're going to win, and they just having fun. Those guys are running up and down the field. They won 41-31 against Tampa Bay. Great game. 4 receptions on 4 targets, 121 yards, 1 TD, 30.3 yard average. Good God from Zion, and a 59-yard long reception. Yep. Nobody on the Ravens team against Tampa Bay saw more than 4 targets. Lamar Jackson, he spread the ball around and he threw for 5 TDs. But Bateman made the most of his opportunities with a 59-yard catch in the second quarter and a 49-yard TD catch in the third quarter. Bateman has yet to catch more than 4 balls in a game in 2024. But he averages, watch this is old school average. He averages 18.8 yards per reception. And he scored at least 3 of the last 5 games. Y'all, they having fun. They balling. They're scary. Ravens are scary. That's my number 1, Rashad Bateman.
I'm right there with you. I get mine out of the way. I'm gonna go with number 5. DK Metcalf had 4 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown, as long as 35. They beat Atlanta. Seattle beat Atlanta. I got Pickens at number 4. And Irv, you went through these. He had 5 for 11, a win against the Jets. St. Brown, 8 catches, 112 yards, win against Minnesota. As you mentioned, that was a game, and I tell you, it could have went either way. Minnesota's scaring me, man.
Good team.
They're gonna be right there.
They got a good defense, man. Their defense plays better than people think they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they're definitely a team to be reckoned with. I got Coleman at number 4. I'm sorry, at number 2 with 4 receptions, 125 yards. As you mentioned, he had no touchdown. He had a longest catch was 57 yards. And I'm with you, Irv, with Bateman as my number 1 receiver this week, 4 for 121 and a touchdown. And as you mentioned, man, it was like 7-on-7 drill.
Yeah.
They were down early, 10-0, and I'm like, oh gosh. here we go. I thought this was a team that really was going to beat Tampa Bay, and all of a sudden it didn't get ugly, but it got to a point to where you just knew who was going to win. You knew who was in control, and they did a great job. And Bateman is a cat that I think is going to have a pretty good season. Mike, what you got, boss?
Let me say this real quick. The thing about Tampa Bay is this. Yes, they're balling. Yes, the week before they scored 50-plus points. But also the week before, Baker Mayfield threw for 3 interceptions, threw 3 INTs. And he will throw interceptions. That's
yes, he will.
The problem with Tampa Bay. You can't win a championship. You can't go far into the playoffs if you're turning the ball over. And Baker will throw that ball away. He will throw the ball away.
Yeah. Mike, what we got, Doc?
Okay. All right. How about them Yankees?
Yankees.
How about them Yankees? Oh, yeah. World Series, baby.
Yankees
World
come.
Series.
You down in
Series.
Florida. What
Man,
you know about the Yankees?
That's okay. Hey. I'm a sports fan. How about them Yankees? Hey, I watched the WNBA, the New York Liberty won, WNBA. That's good. Well, man, you playing with the buttons? You playing with the buttons now? Huh?
He probably was a Padres fan like 3 weeks ago. Padres. How about them Yankees? So I assume that's who you got, Mike.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Okay, so here's my top 5. Number 5, Keon Coleman for Buffalo.
Keon,
Obviously, you talked about his stats. He's number 5. He's funny, great athlete. He's like a puppy. He's just all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Once he starts putting it together, I think he's going to be a great pick for Buffalo. My number 4 is DK Metcalf. Seattle keeps surprising me. A couple weeks before they got whooped, and now they come back and beat up on Atlanta. So DK Metcalf is number 4 for me. Rashad Bateman, he is my number 3.
Really?
I need a little bit more. Yeah, he's my number 3. I was surprised that you guys had him number 1, but you told me your reasons. He's my number 3.
Surprised you got him at 3.
Because I need some consistency. I mean, he had a good game. And, he had the long touchdown, but outside of that, I need a little bit more consistency out of him. If you look at the rest of his stats throughout the year, he's been ghost. So he's my number 3.
Mike.
Well, it's just for this week, Mike.
No, I understand that. But
receiver of the week.
Wait a minute. This is how I evaluate.
Okay.
You evaluate the way you want to evaluate. I evaluate the way I want to evaluate. So this is my evaluation. So my number 2 is George Pickens. George Pickens, to me, he bailed out Russell Wilson.
Yep.
I mean, he bailed him out several times. Doggone Wilson throwing those 50-50 balls.
Did you see one of those balls he threw to the flare? He threw it to the ground. I'm like, oh my gosh! Russell, please get it together, Russell.
Yeah. So
that one pass, I'm like, oh my goodness.
it was obvious he was rusty.
Yeah.
And my number 1 was St. Brown with the Lions. Is Amon St. Brown with the Lions? He's my number 1 for this week. There you go.
The Lions are balling, man. The Lions are balling.
And you know what? They got the best uniforms. That all black. They got the best.
When they wear those all black ones, man. Oh my gosh, yeah, those are hot.
Little blue stripes.
Yeah, man, those are sharp. Those are sharp.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
they are pretty good. All right, we are going into our surprise of the week, Mike. You had the mic, so you keep the mic. Let's see what
there
you
go.
Mike on the mic.
How
Mike on the
apropos
mic.
that is. How apropos that is. The surprise of the week.
Surprise!
Surprise! I can't find my paper. Okay. Okay. Here's my surprise. Here's my surprise.
That's a nice. Hey, Mike, that's a nice jersey, man. I like that jersey. Got the pinstripes in it, the dark green pinstripes and stuff.
Doggone Yankees, boy. Yes, sir. So
they're not green though. They're not green though. They're blue. Where you get the green jersey?
Sometimes you got to step outside the box, bro. It's still the Yankees. Sometimes you got to step outside the box.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
So here you go. The surprise. You guys are gonna laugh at this. The Miami Dolphins passing game. They are my surprise of Here's why. Where have they been? When's the last time you called Hill's name? When's the last time you called Wall?
We haven't.
We haven't.
We haven't. Not all season long.
Game, they have just went completely AWOL. Now,
but we knew that was going to happen when Tua went down. That's what we called that.
No. Here's why.
That's a no.
You can't say that to a Miami fan. They're expected to raise their game in the absence of Tua. Now, granted, you got different quarterbacks. I get all of that. But here's the interesting stat. Tyreek Hill, last 3 games, you know how much his total yards is? 100 yards. Waddle.
Wow.
The last 3 games, his total, 93 yards. That's crazy. Because you remember, this is one of the groups that we said obviously is going to be one of the best trios in the league. Yeah. Right. I understand their main quarterback went down, but my goodness, you still expect something out of these guys in the passing game. Come on.
No.
3 games,
I don't.
100 yards. You don't?
But you know what, Mike? I think there are I think the majority, let me say it this way. I think the majority of the teams in the league right now, if their starting quarterback goes down, that they're going to be dealing with the same type of situation.
Not to this degree.
But listen, if let's say, well, and he's not playing well anyway, but I'm going to use Jalen Hurts as an example here in Philadelphia. If Jalen goes down, what the heck you think is going to happen if he goes down? Those guys are not going to catch balls like they've been catching balls. Not that they've been catching a whole lot of balls.
I get that, Irv. Tyreek Hill had 1 reception last game. Waddle had 1 reception last game.
Because the backup quarterback sucks.
You and I both right now can go out there and throw a hitch in a game.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, for as much as these guys are being paid and the status that they have in the league, you got to give me more balls than 1 ball a game. I don't care if the blind man is throwing the ball. Is the NFL quarterback. You got to get more production out of these guys. So my opinion, and I'll move on. These guys have tanked it somewhat mentally, physically, because Tua's not out. I don't think that they're giving as much effort. I don't think that they're working as hard. And here's the last thing, and I'll stop. I'm putting a lot of this on the coach, getting them involved so those quarterbacks can complete a hitch, a slant. Yeah. Come on. These are NFL quarterbacks. Yeah, that's my.
Yeah, but you know, Tua's coming back this week, right?
I got that, but that was my surprise before I found that out.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
But I tell you what, when you look at Huntley threw for against the Chargers, not the Chargers, but the Colts, threw for 87 yards. Boyd threw for 74 yards, and this
13. Both of them had 13 attempts. Both of them had 13 attempts.
And this is a situation where the receivers, as a receiver, you want to eat, and when you the cheetah, it don't make a difference who throwing you the ball. It's the problem is, can you get him the ball? And I quote what I said when Tua went down. I said Chia has lost 700 yards.
Lost more than that.
He's lost over 700 yards.
He lost more than that.
And it looks like it's going to be that or more. So it is unfortunate, and it really shows you the skill level from the starting quarterback to the second string quarterback. With most teams, I think, because most teams it just literally just drops, or else if that second quarterback is good enough to go out and run that offense just as good as the first quarterback, he wouldn't be the second. He'll be the first somewhere
else.
But Fred, it can't drop off that much, Fred. It can't drop off that drastically. It's off the side of the hill.
Yeah, it is.
But it has dropped off, and I can't even imagine, being in Tyreek Hill's shoes or Waddle's shoes or their position in their production, because their quarterback got hurt and the second quarterback is an inept quarterback or incapable of delivering the ball to them. them being the highly touted receivers that they are, beginning of the season, Tyreek Hill was considered to be the best player, period, in the NFL. And now here he is in his prime, a whole year.
One catch.
Yeah, in his prime, a whole year almost, or potentially being wasted. A whole year. I wonder, listen to me, I wonder if Tyreek Hill regrets leaving Kansas City.
Well, he don't know if Tua, if Tua's not hurt, he'll have 600 yards right now.
I understand, but he is hurt now, and I wonder, does he regret leaving Kansas City?
No, because he was interviewed today.
Because that quarterback in Kansas City ain't missed no games.
He said they're back, baby. Yeah. Tua's back. He said they're back.
Okay, we'll see.
All right, moving right along.
We'll see.
Irv, give me that surprise. Irv.
My surprise actually was a prophecy. So it was a prophecy. I said before the season started, when the Eagles acquired Saquon Barkley, that Saquon Barkley would have his best year ever in the NFL, and he is on his way to do that. I went to the game up at MetLife Stadium, the Eagles versus the Giants, and I watched Saquon Barkley run all over his former teammates, and I can identify with Saquon because there were a couple of teams that I left and when I went back and played against my former teammates, when I was at Miami, I had 3 touchdowns, 200 yards.
You gonna bring that up? You gonna bring, and you gonna bring up the stats too?
Yep, I'm bringing the stats up too. Shush. So I had 211 yards. Then when I played against Miami,
First game of the season,
first game of the season, killed it. I had 5 catches, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns. Killed him. And then when I played against Miami, when I was in Philly, I had 4 touchdowns. So I can identify with Saquon. What Saquon should have done is he should have did like Deion Sanders did when he was with San Francisco. He went back to Atlanta and caught that interception, ran back for a touchdown, ran around the stadium talking about, this is my house. I built this house. This is my house. That's what Saquon should have did, but Saquon's a humble dude. Matter of fact, he's so humble that he was on the bench in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter. He was 13 yards away from his career high in terms of yardage.
Yes.
And Sirianni sat on the bench next to him and said to him, listen, I just got word that you're 13 yards away from your career high. I want you to go back in and get it. What do you want to do? Saquon said, no, I don't want to go back in. Let the young boys eat.
Where did he go to school? Where did he go to school?
He went to Penn State.
Thank you so much.
He's a character guy. 17 carries, 176 yards, 1 TD, 55 long, 10.4 yards per carry. Woo! He had 2 receptions for 11 yards. He had a total of 187 yards total offense. I predicted before the game on my way up to the game that he would have 200 yards of total offense. He bulldozed, ran over, and trucked some of those defenders. And they're talking about fining him because now there's a rule or something that you can't lower your shoulder. Yeah. They're talking about fining him because you can't lower your shoulder. They're talking about fining him. But right now he's got 658 yards in 6 games. That's the most of any running back in the Eagles franchise history. Then you're talking about Wilbur Montgomery. You're talking about Deuce Staley. You're talking about Brian Westbrook. You're talking about Ricky Waters. You're talking about Sean McCoy. That's where Saquon Barkley is. That's my surprise of the week.
Okay. I'm hoping that the Eagles realize that he is inevitably the heart of this team, and can be the hardest team, because there's some games where he did not have the amount of carries that he had in his past game, and of course they've lost those games. But
the Eagles only threw the ball 14 times in this game. They ran the ball. Not all with Saquon, but they ran the ball because Gainwell came in and got some good carries as well. But they ran the ball 40-plus times in this game. And 14 throws and 40-plus runs.
But I have to say this, and I would have did this. First of all, if I was Sirianni, I never would have let him know that he was 13 yards away. I would have put him in the game, and got his 13 yards and then set him down. I wouldn't have gone to him and asked him if he wanted to continue or whatever. But that's me. That's why I'm not the coach.
Well, he did that because they were at a point in the game where it wasn't necessary for him to go back in the game. They had the game won. It was in the fourth quarter. The Giants weren't doing anything, so it wasn't necessary. Why put him back in the game? Again, they always are thinking about whether they're going to get hurt or not. So why put him back in the game? It wasn't necessary.
Okay. Well,
because if that wasn't on the table, he would never have put him back in the game. The only reason he would put him back in the game was because if he wanted to get his record, break his record.
Since we on that subject,
you're going to Tampa.
Surprise. My surprise. I need to lay down on the sofa and talk about this surprise because it is confusing. You know what? You know what's interesting? There have been times as an ex-player I hear fans have a perspective about what a coach did or a play or a decision or what have you, and I say to myself, I'm like, wow, you're absolutely right. And you would think that a coach or a player would make the right decision in doing a certain thing that makes sense to win the game, to lose the game, or what have you. Tampa Bay and Baltimore. Guys, we got 59 seconds on the clock. Mike Evans is out of the game. And based on that first touchdown, he should have come out of the game. And you saw him grabbing at his hamstring, and they throw him really another touchdown.
They should.
Right before,
he shouldn't have played the game. He shouldn't have never been in the game.
He shouldn't even play the game. But he gets hurt on a drop touchdown pass. Now, the interesting thing about this game, and I think it really the surprise, because what I'm saying, what makes it a surprise to me is that this coaching staff from Tampa Bay didn't realize what the probabilities were and what could possibly go wrong. You talk about an estimate percentage, a probability of them winning this game from 59 seconds to the end was 0.1%. Not 0.5, not 1, 0.1%. They were throwing the ball. Watch this. Have we experienced a team being up 28 points and with 2 minutes left throwing the ball and the opposing team or the losing team being disrespected that they're throwing the ball?
Yeah.
Well, there's a song by the Staple Singers that said, respect yourself. Respect yourself. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't even respect themselves. Now, we don't have to quit, but 0.1% of probability of us winning this game. Baltimore knew that they wasn't going to win this game. Tampa Bay should have known this is a wrap. Fine, we'll come back next week. What do? They keep throwing the ball. They keep throwing the ball. Your best receiver's out. They keep throwing the ball. It was at a point to where everybody seemed to be playing in slow motion. The defensive back were tackling guys, and they were just getting up like, what's going on here? And they were incomplete. There were incomplete passes, which stopped the clock. They kept stopping the clock. And then Godwin dislocates his ankle, dude. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? It was so confusing to see that and not understand as a coach, or that a coach would say, we'll come back, we'll come back and play another week. We played this team hard. They're a good team. We'll come back and play another day. And
Godwin won't.
Godwin won't.
Now, Fred, let me ask you a question.
Won that game.
Because I can tell you a coach that I played for that would have approached that the same exact way. His name's Bill Parcells. He doesn't care. Whistle to whistle.
Right.
I think it has a lot to do with the coach and their mindset. Now, you just mentioned Sirianni looking to pull guys. They were up, and the game was, it was a wrap.
Right.
And I don't think you have a lot of coaches. I guess you can go 50-50. that coaches that will play to the whistle. Bill Parcells was one of them. Now, I will give you the quote that being down here, I heard the quote from the coach from Tampa Bay. He said these are football players. He said they get paid to play, and he says they had a chance to win the game, and that's why he was in the game. Guys want to play, and that's what they get paid to do. There you go.
Understood, but from my perspective, I mean, and he has every right to do that. Every right to do that. But what happens? There's a chance that something like this can happen, and it happened. It happened. Yeah. Will they win that game? No.
So what if what if Sirianni put Saquon Barkley back in the game and he got hurt? Didn't tell him what was going on, put him back in the game, and he got hurt. Because at that point in the game, it wasn't the other starters were out as well.
Yeah. Now, here's the deal.
The other team, the Giants had taken their starters out.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Now, here's what I don't think you would ever see. I don't think you would ever see a guy come out of the game, he's resting, and then get put back in the game.
No, he was just in the series before. He didn't miss any. He had not taken him out of the game. He did not miss a series. The defense was on the field, and it was obvious that the Giants had taken out their starting quarterback. They had taken out some of the starters, and the Eagles starting defense was still on the field. Sirianni was saying, "Listen, if they don't score, I'm taking my guys out, but I want you to know that you're 13 yards away. I'll put you back in if you want to get it." So he was waiting to see how that series ended up, and if it ended up with the Giants not scoring and punting the ball, Sirianni's going to take all the starters out.
Yeah,
that's the way. I'm taking my guys out. I'm taking my guys out.
Yeah,
I'm taking my guys out. So I'm going to protect my people.
Yeah, win or lose. Take them out.
Eddie Casper is in the house. Joseph.
Get some shout outs.
Casaretto's in the house. Christopher Cunningham is in the house. Good evening, fellas. He says, the Moose checking in. Go Birds. Ben Straight again. Kenneth Winston. Scott Teller is in the house. Richard Melton is in the house.
Scott.
What's going on, Richard? Angelo D. Ortiz. What's going on, bro? Shout out to you. Thanks for joining us today. Fly Eagles Fly Legacy is in the house. He said, good evening to the OGs of the NFL. I got to put that up there. I like that. Good evening to the OGs. He's saying, now, what does OG stand for? Does it stand for original gangster or does it stand for old guys?
We'll go with either one.
My wife says it stands for old guys. I told her, I said, when I was in prison, man, the guys called me, what's up, OG? What's up, OG? She said, yeah, it stands for old guy. I'm like, nah. When you're in prison, it stands for original gangster.
Yeah.
Ben Straight in the house. Who else? Let me see. Wow. Oh, that's you. Who put wow? Was that you, Fred? Was that you? Ben Straight, I said, Erlene Barnett.
Oh,
Russell Gould.
Maybe I am, man.
PJ Dolan is still in the house. Vincent Capriati, Stephen Pace.
Still in the house.
My mama's still in the house. Billy Bell. Yeah. All in the house.
All right.
We are blessed to be here. Yes, we are. Gotta throw that up there, Joseph. Casaretto.
Yes, Lord.
Casaretto.
Hey, Fred, tell me about your thoughts about DeAndre Hopkins being traded to Kansas City.
What? It's a wrap, dog. Snap it.
It's a wrap, dog.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Hey, you know what? Kansas City should have lost about 2 or 3 games by now.
Yeah.
And they just cannot be beat. You know
why they can't be beat? Because they got a guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes, and they got a great defense.
No, you know what? I saw a caption with a picture, and it said, the Saints MVP is out for the rest of the season. And it was the ref getting his ankle taped. It was a ref getting his ankle taped.
He out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, for the rest of the season. All right, we got our Thursday night, Sunday night, and actually one Monday night. This Monday night.
On Monday night.
I'll start this thing first. Mike, you got that pen ready, boss?
Yes, sir.
All right, we got Minnesota over the Rams, and I know we all on one accord with that. Thursday night, Minnesota will definitely beat the Rams. They should beat them, I think, at least by 14 or 21. Here's an interesting one. We got Dallas at the 49ers. The 49ers scare me, but Dallas, they're very scary. So
very inefficient.
And it's just in time for Halloween. So boo Dallas. I got the 49ers beating Dallas. And Pittsburgh, you know what? I was scared, a little scared with Russell Wilson. I was like, you know, I'm hoping that he doesn't pull through, because I honestly was pulling for the Jets and thought that the Jets was going to win after adding Devontae Adams. But with the way Russell played, and of course they got the Giants. Everybody, I think all three of us can beat the Giants if we put a good foot forward. I think the Giants lose. The Giants lose. I don't think they lose by much. I think they lose by 14 against Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Mike, take it away,
sir.
Mike.
Thursday night game, Minnesota at the Rams. The Rams are still having nightmares. The fact that they don't have Aaron Donald anymore. I mean, it's just a shell of a team since he has left. It's just not the same look. I mean, they just look bad. So I'm picking Minnesota. It's a good get well game for them after their tough loss to Detroit. So Minnesota on that one. Dallas and San Francisco, like you said, Purdy's playing like hot garbage.
Hot
garbage. Three INTs the last game. No run game. Injuries galore. I'm going to step out, guys, and I'm going to go with Dallas.
Yeah, we about to catch up. I'm about to catch up to you. I'm about to catch up to you.
I'm gonna go with Dallas because of what I've been seeing out of San Francisco. So
okay, well, you enjoy first place, tie for first place 1 week.
Okay. All right. So Giants at Pittsburgh. Yes, Fred. I'm going with Pittsburgh. That's an easy one. All right.
Yeah. Irving.
Well, you know what? I take notes and stuff like that. I spend all day Wednesday researching stuff. So I'm gonna give y'all all my listen. I did all this work, dog snapping. I'm gonna say what I got to say. So y'all gonna have to listen, because I did. You know,
Mike,
if we're gonna,
what are you talking about? What are you griping about?
I don't know.
What's he griping about?
Well, Mike.
What's he griping about? Huh?
Let him talk.
I'm old, so I can gripe. All right.
Okay.
What's going on? Okay, go ahead.
Thursday night football, Vikings at the Rams. So the Vikings are coming off the first loss. Obviously, Rams just beat the Raiders. This the Rams' second home game in a row. Matthew Stafford doesn't have great stats this season. Cooper Kupp should be back. He's been out, but he should be back. LA struggles to put points on the board. They've only scored 21 points one time this year. The Vikings defense is 6th in points per game allowed and 8th in third downs. They're pretty good. Goff ate them up last week. Vikings defense is 3rd in sacks, 24, 2nd in blitz. They blitz 42.9% of the time. Stafford has struggled against the blitz, y'all. Come on now. Vikings are looking to bounce back or rebound after the first loss. But the Rams, they trying to keep hope alive. They 2-4. So the Vikings defeated the Rams in 1972. Watch this, 45-41, 86 points between the two teams combined. Fran Tarkenton threw for 4 touchdown passes.
Where are you going?
I'm just giving you a little history between the matchups.
Are you getting ready to set us up that you're going to pick the Rams?
No, I'm taking the Vikings.
Okay, all right.
I'm taking the Vikings. Cowboys versus the 49ers. Cowboys, look, they got smoked. They got the brakes beat off of them. Their defense is 31st in points allowed per game, 31st in the red zone. Dallas, they got smoked. They're bad. Don't know if Michael Parsons is going to be back. Dallas's offense is 20th in points per game, 31st in the red zone. They're 31st in turnovers. They got 11 turnovers. Dak, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions so far in 3 games. 3 games, he's got 3 games with 2 interceptions. Back to back, the last 2 games, he's got 2 interceptions both games. Dallas has given up 16 sacks in 6 games, y'all. This game is not going to be won by Dallas. 49ers. 49ers. Can I give you some history?
No.
Let me give you a little history.
No.
49ers are one game up in the all-time series with Dallas. They met 9 times in the postseason. They had one tie. 1969. Dallas was good back then. The 49ers were not. 49ers picked off Craig Morton 3 times.
Relevant today. The game is
I'm just giving you some history. It's the 2 teams. You know what?
Go ahead.
I'm going to stop doing all this work.
Ahead,
Monday Night Football, Giants and Steelers. I'm picking the Steelers. Y'all suck.
Preach.
Y'all suck.
Preach, man.
I'm trying to sauce up the show.
When they
People don't know this. I'm trying to give them some history with the matchups and stuff. I'm trying to give people some content.
But you're going too far back when they didn't have face masks and everything.
It's all right. It's good to know. It's history. It's good to know. How far back is too far back? I'm still talking about the matchup. How far back is Fran Tarkenton played when there were masks, face masks? You watch Fran Tarkenton play.
Okay.
Y'all suck. I'm done with y'all.
Chuck Foreman and stuff like that.
I didn't say nothing about Chuck Foreman, although he was playing back then with Fran Tarkenton. That was my dude back then, number 44.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Chuck Foreman.
Right,
He's a bad boy.
We got time for a couple of questions.
Okay.
We got a couple of questions.
So yeah, this is the time of the show, the last portion of the show, where if you who are watching right now, we got a bunch of people watching. Those of you who are watching, if you have a question for us, if you could throw a Q up, capital Q, semicolon, then write your question out. I'll recognize it as a question and we'll throw it up on the screen and we'll see if we can't answer it with some kind of sense.
Stat. Some kind of stat.
See if we can't make sense out of it, okay? Eddie Casper, hope to see Fred and Irving on the 8th. Yep, you'll see us. Got a present for y'all both from the Bunker Boys. Okay, Bunker Boys.
What is that? A bar? What is that?
I don't know. We're going to a home.
Okay.
Frank's home, right?
Frank Hanna.
Yep, Hannah's home. And we're going to watch the Panthers. The Panthers game, right?
Panthers game.
Yeah.
Panthers game.
So Richard said he had a question way back in the comments, so we got to dig it out. You got to dig out the question.
Okay, let me go back. Oh, when you guys played, was there any time being down 10 you would quit? When we played, if you're only down by 10, no, you don't quit when you're down by 10. Not at all. Right. That's 2 plays. That can happen. You can score 10 points in 2 plays. So no, you never quit. Matter of fact, for me, and I played a lot of, and Mike was on some of these teams. We played a lot of seasons or a few seasons where we were horrible up in New England and we wasn't beating nobody. So we just made up our minds. Okay, we ain't win the game. Somebody got to pay.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Yes,
somebody got to pay. Sir. We ain't winning the game, but guess what? Somebody getting bruised up. Somebody getting beat up. And we wasn't talking about on our team. We talking about the other team. Wasn't trying to hurt anybody or maim anybody, but we sure was trying to lay the wood to somebody. So no, we never quit. What about you, Fred?
We never quit. Nope. But you know what? It's interesting because I think that there was a understanding to some degree, and I see where he's coming from. But it seemed that, in my opinion, that both teams knew at that point, with 59 seconds left, that who was going to win this game. And of course, it's unfortunate when you think about what happened in terms of Godwin getting hurt. That you have to look at that and say, oh, why wouldn't we just not necessarily fold the tent, but just accept this loss, and that we can move on to the next week. But I wouldn't say quit. But you just take that chance in making those type of calls and trying to get down the field, and you get basically your offense now is just really gone.
Well, yeah, it depends. I mean, if you're 10 points down and, like you said, there's 50 seconds left on the clock and the other team has the ball, chances are you're not going to win the game. It's difficult to stop a team that has the ball with 50 seconds left on the clock and get the ball back and then score twice. You know, you only have 3 timeouts if you have those 3 timeouts. So yeah, if it's you're down by 10 and there's 50 seconds left on the clock and the other team has the ball, yeah, it's highly probable you're not going to win this game.
Yeah. True.
The Crickets are back there, the Frogs. Question by Richard Melton. Why was Fred pulling for the Jets when he picked the Bills? Did you pick the Bills or you picked the Jets?
He picked the Jets.
He picked the Jets.
I picked the Jets. I picked the Jets over Pittsburgh.
Right.
So what's the question?
Richard's asking, why was Fred pulling for the Jets when he picked the Bills? I don't know.
What do you mean when I picked the Jets were playing Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
Is Richard a week back? I mean, is he?
I don't know. Richard, you just catching up?
And the reason I picked the Jets because, of course, the week before they had fired the head coach, and the next week they get Devontae Adams. So now I'm thinking like, okay, you know, there could be something special going on here. And then, of course, Pittsburgh getting a new quarterback with Russell Wilson. So I'm like, hey, maybe they'll be you know,
Richard, he said, Richard said, oh, my bad. He said, oh, my bad. Yeah, you're bad, Richard.
Oh, Richard.
All good.
Said, oh, my bad.
All good. All good. Hey, I got one thing that I want to share with Richard because I knew he's a faithful listener, and we're thankful for you, Richard. I was listening to Josh Allen, and he said something about Amari Cooper, the type of player he is. Yes, and he said he's easy to talk to. Now, you guys hearing him say that, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? He said Amari is easy to talk to.
That the other receivers on the team are not easy to talk to.
Not on the team. The dearly departed one was not easy to talk to.
The dearly departed one, exactly. And maybe on the team as well. But the one Diggs who just left was not easy to talk to. We know that.
True.
But there was something. I saw something about him.
He started to fight this last game.
Yeah,
he went on their sideline.
Right.
On the other team
sideline. He got a problem with one of the DBs over there, and he said. Yeah. He said when they asked him about it, he said, listen, I'm not the one who plays the bigger guy. I'm not the one who's the big, who is the big one, the bigger person. Who takes the high road. He said, I'm always going to respond. When somebody says something to him, I'm not going to let him get away with it. I'm not the one who's the bigger person. I'm always going to address it. I'm like, okay,
now, you know
dude.
What's surprising about that? Because he has the C on his chest. That's surprising to hear.
Right, yeah.
Because he has the C as a captain on that team. That's surprising for.
Well, where is he leading the team? If he's leading them, where you leading them?
They gave it to him, but
that's what I'm saying. Where you lead? You lead them right into a fight.
Lead them right to a fight.
Yeah, disappointing.
He over there fighting for the game, getting snooted up.
All right, well, guys, we have.
Eddie, wait a minute, Eddie Casper. I asked.
We got Eddie Casper.
Yeah, Eddie Casper has a question. Could Jalen's problems throwing to the left because his arm looks like Pope? What's that? Could Jalen's problem throwing to
he might be saying
left,
poop.
I guess he's saying could Jalen's problem throwing to the left be because his arm looks like poop? I guess that's what he's trying to say.
Well, every time you see him, they've made it a point. He rolls to his left. He's not very accurate with his throws.
No, he's not.
And so
I've seen him make some throws rolling to his left. I saw him make a great throw last year rolling to his left.
He didn't hit Devontae Smith was wide coming across.
Here's my only well, they've not simplified. I think they chopped some of Popeye arms. They chopped some of the offense off the game plan for Jalen. Jalen doesn't throw the ball over the middle of the field. All of his throws, the majority of his throws are outside, whether it's a 10-yard out, speed out, quick out, come back. But most of his throws or fade or go, he doesn't throw the ball in between the hashes. And I don't know if it's because that's where most of his interceptions have taken place, or he has trouble reading the middle of the field in the spaces where the ball needs to be delivered, or anticipating those spaces opening up where the receiver is supposed to go there in that moment of separation, having the ball in the air prior to that moment of separation taking place and the ball delivered on time. For some reason, Jalen is not throwing the ball in the middle of the field. And that limits the Eagles' defense in the passing game, obviously. You have to be able to throw the ball in the middle of the field. That's where when you're playing these zones and teams are umbrellaing, they're creating an umbrella. That's where the holes are. That's where the spaces are in the middle of the field.
Yeah, there's one particular route that he's been pretty accurate with, and I don't know if we call it the middle of the field, because it's like a 10-yard dig route that AJ Brown catch a lot, and I think he caught one against the Giant. But you're right.
It's a slant. It's a slant. It's not a dig. It's just a slant.
No. It's a dig route. It's a 10-yard.
A 10-yard dig route.
Yes, it's not a 1-2-3 slant. It's a 10-yard dig route.
Well, they don't do 1-2-3 slants anymore. They just wiggle until they get ready to go in there, and then they go in there. They don't do the 3-step slant anymore. They just wiggle, keep wiggling, wiggle, and then go inside.
But he actually threw the dig route, and it's a shorter dig. It's not a deep dig route.
Right. It's not down. Dig. It's not 15 yards down the field. He doesn't throw those balls. Listen, Eagles Fly said this, Mike. He said, Michael, I posted a touchdown you caught from Bobby Hoeing yesterday. The date was November 30th, 1997.
97.
Boy, he's digging out of the archives, out of the crate.
Digging out of the archives.
Gee.
1997.
Appreciate you.
Out the crates. All right, fellas. I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning into White House World. I'm your host, Fred Barnett, with the future Hall of Famer, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for joining White House World. We'll see you next week.
We're out.
Howdy.
This has been Whiteout's World. Touchdown. Not one, not two, but 3 NFL legends. Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Are you freaking kidding me? If it's football talk you're looking for, I think we've got you covered. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on YouTube at Whiteout's World. See you next time.
Let's go! Let's go! Go!